Hey guys, in today's video, we're installing the FitCamX in the 22 Tundra TRD Pro. We're replacing the dash cam that's in there because we just recently put this in my wife's Sequoia 26 Sequoia TRD Pro, and we absolutely love it. So we're upgrading for sure. Let me show you what's in the box. I'll show you how to get it installed. Very simple to do, and then we'll take a look at all the features.
So here's what we got. You have your main housing with the camera built into it. Looks very OEM. You can't even tell the camera's there once you get it installed. It's part of the reason we're upgrading to get that dash cam off of the windshield. You have your main power harness, you have some cable management, plastic pry tool, an SD card reader, and then your rear camera if you choose. Now, this is the only piece that's optional that we went with that you don't have to get. I did get this separately. This is how we're going to record 24/7. It's going to connect to our OBD2. I'll show you how to get that installed. Very easy to do. So that's everything that comes in the kit. Let's get it in the truck.
Hey guys, if you like what you see and you want to pick up a FitCamX, we do have a discount link below you. There's no code needed, but you do have to click on the link to get the discount. It'll be automatically applied at checkout. So when you add the camera to your cart, when you go to checkout, just make sure you're getting that discount that is there for you. But again, no code needed. You just have to click on the link down below the video. Now let's get back to the install. Step one is popping our stock piece off that the FitCam is going to replace. Very simple to do. This middle square, you can just pull down. It's going to pop off just like that. Now this main housing is held on by clips. What you're going to want to do is push it straight down towards the dashboard, or the hood. Like so, and I'm just trying to get my radar detector cord out of there. Now coming back to the bench real quick, take your FitCamX piece, remove that middle section. It pops off just like the middle section of the OEM did. And if we flip these around, you can see the stock piece has these two red clips. We want to take these clips off and put them in the same locations on the FitCamX piece. You can see we now have the red clips on the FitCamX piece. We can set that aside. The OEM piece, we could also just set that aside. We're no longer going to need that. Now what we want to do is take this middle section for the FitCamX piece, and you can see how there is a U shape in there that has, like, it's divided. We do have to remove that middle section for the Tundra. So I'm just going to take my Dremel or my multi-purpose tool and remove this middle U section. And here you can see what I meant. So this piece sits in here like this. You just have to separate it. There's only a handful of tabs that keep it in place there. So just cut that out, and then you're left with this main piece here that we are going to use. Before we head back over to the truck real quick, we are not going to be using the main power harness that I showed you because we opted for the OBD2. This is how it's going to get power instead of using this. I will show you real quick where this goes in the truck. Super easy to do. Okay, if you're going to use this harness, what you're going to do is this spot right here. You're just going to unplug that, plug it into that end of your harness. This is going to go into the housing of the OEM of the truck. And then the only other thing is you have the pigtail coming down that would connect to your main camera on the housing, which I'll show you. So it's that simple. That's where it would plug into right there. Coming back and taking a look at the new FitCamX piece. If you look at the underside, you have two pigtails coming off of it. This is the main pigtail for the main camera. That's where that piece would plug into that I just showed you. And then of course this longer one it's actually labeled rear cam, so you can't really screw this up. So once we get this installed in the truck, again, because we're using the OBD2, we're simply just going to connect the OBD2 to the main camera like so. Our rear camera is going to connect there, and then we can route our wiring. So let's go get this piece mounted in the truck. But before we do that, let's take a look at the camera itself. So here, again, here you can see it's built into the main housing, which is going to give you that complete OEM look. It does come with I believe it's a 64 gigabyte micro SD card in there. Yep, 64 gigs, so that's already in there for you, so you don't have to worry about picking up one of them. Here's the camera itself, of course, the lens right there. It does come with the covering on. I highly recommend you take the covering off before you install it in the truck. Ask me how I know. When we did it on the Sequoia, we did not, and it was a pain to get your hand up in there and remove it. So take that covering off before you put it in the truck. And then looking underneath here, you have two buttons and three holes basically, but they're LEDs. So you have your power button. The power, or the dash cam, is going to come on automatically when it gets the power from the vehicle. But if you want to stop or start recording, you can also short press that. The next button is your camera button. This is, if you push this, it'll basically lock the current the current section of video. So if you see something cool on your dash cam and you want to lock it to make sure it doesn't get recorded over, you can go ahead and press that. And then there's different functions. If you push and hold the camera button, you can restore default settings, you can reset the Wi-Fi and password, format the SD card. There's different functions that you can do if you push and hold. Now looking at the three little lights over here, the first one closest to the camera button, that's your microphone. This does record audio if you so choose. You can turn that on and off in the settings. The next is your LED light, which is basically just going to tell you what the camera is doing. And then finally, the last one over here, that's your reset. If you have to reset the camera for any reason at all, that's where you would do it right there. With that out of the way, let's get this thing installed in the truck. Now again, these two clips are what holds this in place. You're going to see the two locations that they slide into. So you're basically literally just going to be putting this kind of almost flat up against the windshield. And I'm going to have to kind of work around my radar detector. But you're basically just going to kind of line up, get it up here in position. Make sure your cords are coming through the middle section right here. So line up them two red clips with the two spots that they go into, and then you're literally just going to push up at an angle, almost like you're sliding it up the windshield, and you'll feel it in here, it lock into place. Just like that, locked in, and the fit is perfect. Now don't pay attention to that wire over there. That's my radar detector that'll get fed back down through there. But now we have to make our couple connections. Again, if you did it with that harness, the power harness that comes with it, you're going to plug it into your main camera pigtail right there. Because we're using the OBD, that's where we're going to plug in our OBD connection to the main camera harness right here. And there's little indentations. You can't screw it up. It only plugs in one way. So what we'll do is we're going to end up running it up over and above the headliner over here. So I'm just going to kind of tuck the connection piece up in there because they do give you plenty. And then I'm just going to kind of start routing the wiring over this way. Then we'll take our rear camera, plug it into the rear camera spot if you have it. Same thing, we're going to feed it up over this way because it's going to run the same, it's going to start in the same area anyway as the OBD2. So now you can see we have both wires coming out from this corner and they're going to be tucked above the headliner there. Then just take your middle piece. There's two tabs at the bottom that these locations are going to slide into. I have my radar detector back in place and that wire's coming down, and then we're just going to pop it up and it snaps into place like so. Now it's just a matter of running our wiring up above the headliner over to the A-pillar. You're going to be able to, you can remove this weather stripping if you need to, which I'm going to fast forward this so you can see it kind of sped up because this is super easy to do. But the OBD2 is going to end up going down to connect into our OBD2. The rear camera wiring is going to end up coming all the way tucked basically back to the truck, which again I'll give you a look at kind of sped up so you don't have to watch the whole thing. Very simple to do. All right, so I have the connection down below. I gave myself just enough slack to plug it in. The extra wiring, we're just gonna kind of zip tie and leave it behind this panel here. There's plenty of spots you can zip tie to existing wiring. Moving on to the rear camera, we're gonna do the exact same thing. It's gonna come up and hide up above the headliner. And I should have mentioned, make sure you're wearing either clean gloves or you have very clean hands when you're touching your headliner. They do dirty, they mar up pretty easily, and they're not the easiest thing in the world to clean. Now to get this plug up above, if you need to, just use your plastic pry tool to pull down just a little bit, and you'll be able to kind of shove that up above there and continue running the wiring. Now the only difference with the rear camera is instead of going down like we did with the OBD, we're going to go above the headliner all the way back. We're going to go behind the B pillar all the way back until we get to the back of the truck. Again, very simple to do. Just kind of follow the contour lines and sneak it above the headliner and behind your pillars. Same thing, once you get to your C-pillar, replace your weather stripping. All right, so once you get back to this corner, you're just gonna, again, follow the headliner, stuff it all up above there. You're gonna have some extra wiring for sure, because they send you plenty of cable. You can tuck a decent amount down behind this C-pillar. It's held on by clips, so if you just get your fingers in between the headliner and the C-pillar, you can just pop it right off, stuff that extra wiring down there, and you can see we have the camera run right over here to the middle. Now, because we have the rear sliding glass, let me show you how we're gonna mount this thing. All right, so we had to get a little creative here because we have that rear sliding glass. So what I did was I 3D printed 3 different mounts just to try different options. I think, just looking at the angles and stuff, I think one of these 2 is gonna work. Now, I did it in neon green just because these were practice prints, and I have plenty of neon green that I don't use a lot. I am gonna reprint it in black, just so you know. So if you're wondering what the color's all about, that's why I, just instead of wasting my black filament. But the way this is gonna work is the headliner is gonna sit right in that groove. So basically and then the camera's gonna mount to this flat surface here. I'll give you a much better look once it's on. So what we have to do is I have to pull the headliner down just enough, you don't wanna crease it or anything, to slide the headliner in that groove, have it sit up there so that way we can mount the camera to this piece here, allowing that rear window to still slide up and down. All right, it's on there. So, and it feels pretty sturdy. We'll see once we're driving the truck and check out the footage. Again, I'll give you a much better look once I have it in place, but now basically all we have to do is I peel the back off the camera, and as you can see, this flat surface, that's where the camera's gonna mount. So I'm gonna be in the way for a second because I wanna make sure we're lined up and straight. Just gonna hold it there and let that adhesive sit in, and I'll give you a quick look at this. All right, guys, I can't wait to get this powered on and check this out. I think that's gonna work even better than I thought. So it does seem really sturdy. We'll see when the window's down and the wind is blowing. But again, you can see how it's sitting in there. The headliner's in that crease that I showed you. Mountain sticking down. And the other bonus part is, which I didn't even plan for or think of, to be honest, the tip of this mount actually sits up above the weather stripping. So it makes it even more secure. I can't really get you a good look because it's much too small of a space, but I think that's going to work out much better than expected. Camera's nice and centered. If it doesn't stick with the tape that they send, I'll use some of my heavy duty double-sided Gorilla tape. And again, I am going to reprint that piece in black. This was just kind of a test. But yeah, let's get power to this thing. We'll connect to the app and check it out. All I've done off camera is plug in the OBD2 connection down underneath the steering wheel. So let's go into the FitCamX app. Now you're gonna see, as I mentioned, we did install it on our 26 Sequoia TRD Pro. So that's that right there. To add a new camera, which we have not done yet, we have not connected to this one, you're gonna click the plus sign up here, install the camera and power it on. Next, it should be, okay, so we're gonna go into our Wi-Fi. So it's gonna take us into our phone settings. And we have to go into Wi-Fi, and we should see an option for like car. Yeah, okay, there it is right there. It says car cam, whatever. Yours is probably gonna have different numbers or whatever. Now, when it asks you for the password from factory, it's just 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Obviously, you can change the name of the camera and the password. So once we connect to this, we should, yep, okay. So now we can go back to the FitCamX app, and we should connect to the camera, and there we go. We're up and running. So we can see the front camera. I'm really interested. Let's check out the rear camera real fast. All right, so we had a slight panic attack. My rear camera was not showing up. I thought something was wrong. Basically, all that happened was when I was stuffing the wiring, the cable up above the headliner, it came disconnected. That's all it was. I reconnected, and now it's working. So what I was trying to do was this little button right here. If you click that, that's how you're going to cycle through your modes. Now, you can see, obviously, right now, we're looking at our front-facing camera. The first time you hit it, it's going to go to the rear-facing camera. And I have to be honest, that actually looks much better than I thought it was going to. I'm going to go ahead and push the window down real quick. Yep, you can see the window. Hopefully you can see in frame. The window just went past it. Does not affect the window performance at all. So I'm going to roll the window back up. You just saw the window come up through there. So that mount does not affect the window performance at all. So the only thing left I have to test is when I'm on the highway, when I'm driving, see if it's, shaky at all or anything like that. But so then if you hit this again, you'll go to the front camera with the rear camera up here in the corner,
And then the last one is the rear camera as the main screen with the front up here in the corner. Okay, and then if you hit it one more time, obviously you're just going to go back to the front and you can cycle through. Now, I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time going through this app. Basically, you can go into your camera files and view videos or pictures that you took. Here's your picture and video button right there if you wanted to start recording or stop recording. Right there you can see recording paused. Hit it again to resume. If you want to take a still photo, that's that right there. Camera files is where you're going to go to view all of that. In camera settings, we will look at that real quick. So in here, this is where you're going to be able to change a few settings. So sound recording, again, if you wanted to pick up audio or talking in the vehicle or anything like that, you can turn that on and off. Video resolution, you want to make sure you're on the highest resolution, well, if you so choose to be, which obviously I'm not really sure why you wouldn't want to be. So that's the 3840 by 2160. Loop record options, it's set to 1 minute. I actually like my loop recordings to be 3 minutes long. Exposure compensation, I'm not going to mess with that. You can turn the timestamp on and off. Driver collision sensing, we are going to turn that on. So we'll put that to most sensitive. And what that says is when the camera is in working state, it will automatically lock recording video when a collision is detected. So I would want that on. Most people, I think, would want it to lock that video to make sure it doesn't get recorded over. I put it to most sensitive, but you saw the options there. So I'm going to put it to most sensitive. I'll adjust if I need it. And then the parking monitoring collision detection, same thing. I'm going to put that to most sensitive. And then down here, this is where you can change the name and the password. The only thing I will say here is if you do change the name or the password, what it's going to do is it's going to disconnect you from the camera, and then you're going to have to go back and reconnect under the new name. So I'll show you real quick. So we're going to change this to, we're just going to put 22 Tundra FitCamX. Okay, so if you click OK, it says the camera needs to be reconnected after completion. Click confirm. So now we'll have to go back into our Wi-Fi settings, and instead of looking for that car option or whatever, now we're going to look for the 22 Tundra FitCamX, which is right there. So we'll click on that now, and now you can go back in, and now you're reconnected. But just so you know, you're gonna have to do the same thing when you change your password as well, okay? Just a heads up. So that's pretty much all there is to settings. We'll turn it sideways real quick so you can see you can view it in this mode as well. You have your options there to record or photo. Same thing, you can cycle through the modes right there. And then that little icon right there, the little speaker icon, you could actually turn the audio on and off from right there. So that's pretty much the app in a nutshell. You can the other thing is you can come into your files and you could actually save these to your phone. So if we wanted to say, let's just say we wanted to save that recording right there to our phone, all you have to do is hit download. You can hear me talking in the background because again, we have the audio on. So if you hit download, it'll actually save it to your phone. All right, last thing to do is get some footage of this thing, and I'll share it with you on the screen from the SD card, so that way you get the highest resolution and the best idea of how good these cameras are. And again, I will test out that rear camera with that mount. If this works well, I will offer those mounts for sale. If you want one, just reach out to me, get in touch with me, and I'll get you one sent out. I can make them in a bunch of colors, and honestly, they're going to be cheap because there's not much material needed to make them. So I'm actually going for a little road trip right now, so I'm going to grab some footage from these cameras. I'll share it to you at the end of the video, and we'll wrap it up.
it is, guys. FitCamX on the 22 Tundra TRD Pro. Link will be down below, and our discount code for the channel will automatically be applied at checkout. So when you add the camera to your cart, just make sure the discount's there. If it's not, reach out to me. It should just automatically apply for you. There is no code needed, but the link that you need will be down below the video. You have to click on that to get the discount. So if you have any questions on it, let me know. Hopefully you like the video. Check this thing out. It is definitely worth it. Such an OEM and clean look, and as you saw, the quality is very good on the cameras themselves. So questions, comments, or concerns, drop them down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.